Hey scrappers, if you're looking to figure out what materials you should sell this week or hold this week, now is the time to do it. Our weekly report is going to give you that information, up-to-date market news, pricing. Let's get right into it and we'll talk about it inside. Hey scrappers, Tom from iScrap. Today is August 17th, 2022, and here we are 2 weeks away from September. And September is one of the months that I really look forward to because the summer's been one of those slower time periods in the scrap world where while there is a lot of scrap because a lot of projects are getting done, traditionally it's been slower just because the markets move in a different way. And that pattern really has kind of held true over the last few months. After the big copper decline that we saw kind of April, May into June, we saw those markets level themselves off after having almost too much of a sell-off where they oversold, but we have seen them climb their way back. And over the last 7 days, we haven't seen much of a change, maybe 2 to 3 cents per pound of a change overall, but really not that bad. But before we talk about more markets, I want to talk about different perspectives and things that I've talked about over the last week with more customers out in the yard. So we got some really nice feedback last week when we kind of took the scrapper approach, and I wanted to continue that. So one of the things that I've really tried to hammer home with a lot of my day-to-day scrappers that come to Rockaway Recycling. These aren't the guys that are just doing it part-time. These aren't the plumbers or the electricians that get scrap as kind of a byproduct of their regular job. This is for those of you that are out there hustling the scrap world every day, or it could be a full-time job or a full part-time job, if that makes sense, where you're kind of hustling after your regular workday. And a lot of people said, hey, how do you think I can grow my business? So the first thing I'll talk about is at my scrapyard, we have constant communication with customers, but we do it in a different type of a way. But you can use this idea and kind of flow it into your own day-to-day world. We have newsletters that go out. We have text message alerts. And those are things where customers can sign up for those alerts, sign up for those newsletters, and once a month or as markets change, we provide them big pieces of information or overall market news. That's given them the ability to know where the markets are quickly. If there's a big price increase or a price decrease, they have been able to just learn a little more. Now, how can you kind of take that concept and make it into your day-to-day world? Well, we see a lot of your stories. I respond to your YouTube comments. I check out posts that you put on our Facebook group, see things on Instagram, right? So if you have steady customers, one thing that I always like to do is go out and meet with them. This morning, I hopped in my pickup. I went and saw 3 different customers just to stop by and say, hi, is there anything else that we can do for you or any projects you have coming up? So it might not be something that's planned. Sometimes you might be going to do one thing, but you're driving by another place that you've been to before or a customer. And I can tell you that popping in and having that little bit of FaceTime, whether it's for 1 minute or 10 minutes, is a huge thing, especially when it comes to consistency and really good customers. Second thing I would recommend, a text message or even a phone call. Think about it. You're on the road. We have these awesome devices, whether it's Droids or iPhones, where you can voice dictate messages to people. Instead of using that time to just jam out and listen to music or listen to sports radio or whatever it is that you listen to on the radio while you're driving, why not use that time to send some messages out to people? Hey, it's Tom. Hope everything is going well. Hope you're having a busy summer. If you need anything, let me know. And I was telling that to a couple of customers. We have 4 or 5 people that do smaller projects for us, jobs that we wouldn't want to pick up. And they always ask us, hey, how do you think we can grow our business? We've given them leads as scrapyards before, and that's been able to help them. And then they ask us how we follow up with people, and we just give them those little tips. So those are a couple of things. By using your time during driving to send messages, make phone calls, you can definitely have a real good uptick in your overall business. So hopefully those pieces of news will help. Now let's jump back into the markets and what's happened over the last few weeks. Stainless steel and nickel prices have continued to be in a holding pattern. And stainless has been one of the items that I've said over the last 2 months, almost every single week, hold on to stainless, hold on to stainless. I still think that we're going to have a resurgence in the nickel markets. And of course, the nickel markets go into the stainless prices. I think that we're going to have a really nice resurgence of the nickel prices the fourth quarter of this year. I think that this rushing problem caused a big run up and then a quick run down when we saw some volatility on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, when we saw a lot of the metals prices on nickel contracts kind of being held a few months ago. I think that that has really kind of dominoed its way all the way through and into August and continuing. So stainless price is really a little difficult. Now, if you have prices for stainless or copper that you have sold recently, please download the app. Post those prices on the app. If you're trying to use the app to find scrapyards near you, I was looking at someone this morning that said they couldn't find some prices near Joliet, Illinois. Post prices that you've gotten yourself, because if you've received prices or even price quotes from scrapyards, those are things that you can post and put out there. The other problem that we saw with some app users recently, they didn't have the location enabled on their phone. So when they pulled up the app, it didn't find where they were and it couldn't find scrapyards near them. So just make sure that inside of the settings, you are able to have your enabled location. This way you know where you are. Now, we have a lot of market news from our economist, Mark, and other things that we type up throughout the week. So below, there's going to be a link for you to be able to click on. It'll bring you to our weekly report. Of course, you can check that out on your iPhone, on your Droids through the app itself, or right through the website so you can learn more about the week-to-week prices. Now, a few other things that we've talked about with customers is oversharing or undersharing different jobs that you do. I have one guy that works not for me, but does a lot of work for me on jobs that I can't do myself. And sometimes he gets what I would like to call loose lips. And when you get those loose lips, sometimes you overshare. And one thing you might want to keep in mind, whether you have really good jobs, really good contacts, is oversharing with people, because there's a couple of things that we found in the past that make people upset. Oversharing could make people jealous. And even though you're out there hustling your butt off to get this scrap work, it doesn't really make sense to go out there and just tell everyone all the good things that you're doing. At the end of the day, you're the one doing the hustle. There should only be a few people in your circle that you're sharing these things with. And that's something to keep in mind when you get some really good jobs. But what if you get a really good job and it's a repeat job and you tell the wrong person that you have this job? Maybe they're interested and you say, hey, I made $2,000 on this job last week. And that's more money than they make in a week. Well, maybe they want to become a scrapper and they might give you some problems. So these are just a couple of things to keep in mind. Another thing that we were talking about with some of our customers, I was down in the yard for many hours over the last week, was prices, when to sell, when to hold. And that's a great thing that we do on our weekly report, telling you what to sell, telling you what to hold. Our opinions only. A lot of people don't take them, and that's cool. That's why we're just giving them to you, right? But this week, steel prices have jumped up. So I continue to say that you should be selling shred or light iron the moment it hits your trailer, other than, of course, if it's a byproduct of like taking air conditioners apart. Don't touch that material more than once, almost regardless of what the prices are. And I saw someone post something that just said, oh, steel at $80 a ton isn't worth selling. Well, if you're getting it for free, you're making $80 a ton less your time. So I think it's always worth selling as you get it into your truck. But if you're looking at holding any grades of material, you could hold cast iron, maybe rotors. I still think that going into the fall, September, October, we are going to see an uptick in prices. And we've seen a lot of crazy things going on with the energy markets. Of course, we've now seen gas prices dipping down 65 days in a row since hitting those crazy highs back in June. But we still have gas prices considerably higher than they were last year. But going into the fall season and in the winter, I do think that we're going to start to see a little more of an energy pinch that we've seen recently. And that's certainly one of the expectations that I have going into the next 5 months of the rest of the year. Other things that I think you should sell, I think copper prices are still really good. I think brass prices are still really good. And one thing that I did see in a comment this week, and it almost shocked me, a guy said that he goes to a scrapyard that doesn't show the customers the scale. And any scrapyard that doesn't show you the scale or the indicator is a scrapyard I would immediately stop doing business with. All the guys that drive my trucks, when they deliver material to other yards, they're required to take pictures of their scale in and outbound, because we want to compare that. Sometimes we'll go to public scales and we'll test out the scrap yards to see if their scales are right. So one of those things that you could do is test the scrap yards. So that's another tip. If you're looking for more tips, kind of more scrap secrets, we have a YouTube membership, and there's a new video coming out this week, a new episode coming out that only YouTube members of our channel are going to be able to have access to. And we have had hundreds of videos and blogs and articles in the past that we've posted out there, and we're continuing to push these out there. But for those of you that are real serious, that are looking to get tips that I may not give out day to day, this is a great opportunity to become, a YouTube member of our page and get access to these very limited videos that we're only giving to members. Overall, listen, cat prices still in the $165 range. Many of you know that rrcats.com is a subsidiary of ours. So if you're looking to be able to get fair prices, locked in rates for 10 business days, and free shipping, rrcats.com will not only give you price quotes, they can do photo grades on your cat. They can quote you off of serial numbers. So head over there for all of your catalytic converter needs, DPFs, aftermarkets, etc. But overall, I still like the markets right now. I'm continuing to sell material. Everyone asks, a lot of my customers are like, oh, are you holding on to copper? Do you think the prices are going up? And I always say, look at my yard. It's empty. We have a very quick turnover, 2 to 3 days. And that's the mentality that I've taken. So some of you don't like that because you want to hold and wait till the prices go up. But this is something that I do every day. So it's a little bit of a different perspective where we can both be right because we have different outlooks on this. But hopefully this is a really good perspective from the scrapper side of things. If there's other things that you would like me to talk about or kind of interview my customers at Rockaway Recycling and then share with you, look at the comments and comment below, post your prices online, become a YouTube member of our page. We appreciate you tuning in. Any other questions you have about the scrap markets this week, let us know. Until next week, scrappers, I'll scrap you later.
Thanks for watching this video. If you want to and you haven't already, please subscribe below for more videos or become a Patreon supporter to get more information on scrap today.